make it. Too many people, they don't let me down, but I keep it real, no time for hating. I'm always on that PC trying to shape my sound. See, I'm just trying to make it. I've got some people, I cannot let it down. Aiming for the top of the mountain. Not there yet, but I've left the ground. Oh, I've left the ground. I'm just trying to make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah. Make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah. Oh, I've left the ground. I'm just trying to make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah. Make it, yeah, make it, yeah, yeah.
Don't tell me about me. Stop telling 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 me about me. I don't need you to tell me about me.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another one, y'all. Another episode. Let's talk Jay vs. Jordan, man. Let me hit my music real quick. Like, going somber today. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth, y'all. Hope everybody doing all right, man. I know it's a Friday night. Y'all could be out doing things that you shouldn't be doing, but you're here with me. So, appreciate that. I got to do the spiel, man. On the way in, hit the like, subscribe, share, turn the notice on, all that in the bag of chips, man. You feeling foggy? Become a channel member. This video is actually very, very, very long overdue. Very, very long overdue. And I guess saying with recent things going on in the world, it's prime time to talk about it. I know it's a touchy subject. A lot of people don't like to speak on this crap, and a lot of people actually just don't even have an opinion about it. But we're going to talk about it today. First off, the United States, y'all need to stay the fuck out of the Middle East. I'm just going to say that right now. Y'all need to stay out of the Middle East and mind your damn business. Say that. Y'all know the conflict that we got going on right now with Israel and Iran, you know, Israel and Hamas. They got tired of me fighting with everybody over there, it seems like. But United States, we need to stay out of it. It ain't none of our business. We need to mind our business. But I got a few videos that I wanna go through today about this topic because I put a poll in the chat and I want y'all to answer that poll. I want to see what y'all think about it because This is a situation that I truly believe that we shouldn't be involved in at all. And it's been going on for so long. And the people that we seem to align ourselves with don't seem to be the good people in my opinion. Just my opinion. But I'm not going to sit here and keep talking about it. I'm going to go ahead and show y'all the video that we're going to watch first, and then we're going to talk about it. As usual, get your popcorn, get your cigarettes, get your weed, get whatever you need. Do whatever you need, y'all. Because we about to get it popping. Shout out to the channel. I guess I'm just going to call it Middle Nation. Shout out to Middle Nation. Let's see what they got right now. Let's see what they talking about.
Okay, well, I had a video. I published a video about a year ago, more than a year ago, titled something like "A Message to the Israeli People" or "To the People of Israel" or something like that. Until now, it's by far my most popular video. And I think in that video, I was quite straightforward. And I think I was respectful in that video and in that message. I told you the truth. To the Israeli people, I told you the truth. So let me do it again, because I think that you very badly need someone to tell you the truth. If more of you had listened, actually, and I did get a lot of positive comments from people who identified themselves as Israelis, but if more of you had listened to that first video, well, we might be in a very different place today. And you might be in a very different place today. But what has happened has happened. And here we are. And here you are. So let me tell you where you are. First of all, let me tell you what you did, okay? You took a bucket and you called that bucket Israel. That's what you did. And you filled that bucket with the blood of Palestinians. You filled it with the blood of Lebanese. You filled it with the blood of Syrians, with Iraqis, the blood of Iranians, the blood of Africans, even Afghanis, the blood of Egyptians, obviously. Yes, you filled that bucket with blood, and then you used that blood to start painting on the ground everything that you said was yours. That's...
You're goddamn right.
Gonna leave it at that. Let's keep going.
That's what you did. You painted in their blood what you wanted to claim as your territory, but you painted yourselves into a corner. Yes, you did. You have painted yourselves into a very tight corner, and now you're stuck. You've painted your way out of having any feasible options. But all the while, Uncle Sam was cheering you on, wasn't he? He was helping you to keep that bucket full so you'd never run out of blood to paint with. He kept cheering you on, and he kept your bloody bucket full, and he watched you paint yourselves into a corner the whole time. Yes, Uncle Sam and his whole European team, which is the same team, by the way, that threw your people into the gas chambers. It's the same team that exiled you, that ostracized you, that abused you, and that mocked you, and that tormented you and your people for centuries, until they completely tried to annihilate you under the Nazis. That's the same team that's been cheering you on this whole time. That's the team. They've been watching you paint yourselves into a corner with the blood of the people of the region. And you were foolish enough. You were foolish enough, or you were deluded enough, or you had such maybe an inferiority complex about those Europeans and about those Americans that you were just desperate for their approval. I don't know why you did what you did. Wallahi, I don't understand it. But you were fools to do it. And you ought to realize that now. You ought to realize that the people who hated you, ever since they even knew about you, they didn't certainly have a change of heart. No, they hated you then and they hate you now. And they have hated you the whole time while they were watching you and cheering you as you got yourselves trapped into a situation that you can't get out of. Because that's the situation that you're in. That's your situation right now. You're in a situation that you cannot get yourselves out of, and that's a fact. There's no viable exit for you now. I mean, think it through. I don't think you are. I told you more than a year ago that they were egging you on to do things that were absolutely and irredeemably destroying your reputation as a people, as a nation. I mean, the damage is irreversible. Tens of thousands of people killed, innocent people killed in Gaza, 50,000. By the time that they actually have the real numbers, by the time we know the real numbers, you and I both know it's going to be over 100,000 people that you've murdered. More than that, probably, that you've slaughtered. So you see what they've done. They've turned you from being victims of their Holocaust against you into perpetrators of genocide. Look at that. What makes you think that the perpetrators of the Holocaust are not just trying to retroactively justify their crimes by turning you into genocidal monsters? You ought to think more deeply. I mean, do you understand that no one feels sorry for you now? That was your currency before, but no one feels sorry for you now. I mean, they're putting out AI English translations of Hitler on YouTube, and it doesn't get taken down. It gets shared. They've got people who used to say things quietly amongst themselves now saying out loud that Hitler had a point.
And a lot of people might not know if what he's saying is true. And pretty much what he's saying is the Western countries that actually did the Holocaust to y'all, these people that are over there in Israel right now, have been behind you the entire time, egging you on to do crap, do the same evil shit to the people that's in the land that you're in right now. Iranians, Iraqis, Palestinians, Africans, because that's what they've been doing over there in that land. That's why it's been so much fighting going on over there. They egged them on to do it all the while, in the same country that's been egging them on, plus Britain and all the rest of them, because they don't get no pass on this one. This is what we've been having in this it's so funny. It's so funny because a lot of people forget this. A lot of people forget this right here. This happened in America. The same party, the same president, his party that is in America right now. This is his people right here. This is what they were saying. This was years ago. And remember what he said? The people that don't like you have been egging you on to do evil shit. Watch it.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
We all remember that, right? We all remember that, right? Down there in Charlottesville, right? Those are all Republicans. All Republicans. Who they saying won't replace them? Who they saying won't replace them? But the same party in the same country, because Democrats behind that same dumb shit too. They behind that same dumb shit. They right there with them. Egging you on to do crap to other people in other nations. I'm gonna let them keep going, man. I'm gonna let them keep going. It's really funny. It's really funny. When he talk about your enemies are the one egging you on, y'all just saw an example.
And maybe he did what he did for a good reason. Imagine. We're not even talking about Holocaust denial anymore. We're talking about Holocaust justification being normalized because of your actions. That's because of nothing but your actions, Israel's actions. It's because of the genocide. It's because of the unhinged, unrestrained, illegal violence that you've committed across every border in the region, attacking Syria, attacking Lebanon, attacking Iran, attacking Iraq, attacking Yemen. Your great American and your great European cheerleaders have applauded you and have funded you into damnation. Do you understand me? They have applauded you and they have funded you until you now have become a hideous spectacle of a nation that the whole world despises. And you think that these are your friends. Until now. You think that these are your friends who saved you from the Nazis. Well, they're not doing anything but carrying on what Hitler left off, where Hitler left off. But they just made their approach more sophisticated. You know, Hitler used an axe and they use a scalpel. They've ruined you. I'm surprised that you can't see it. I mean, after more than 600 days of inhuman savagery in Gaza, I mean inhuman brutality, all of it live streamed. When the most bigoted, the most, neo-Nazi white supremacist, openly Jewish-hating demagogue, after all of that, when he claims that your people are satanic and demonic, well, what's a good-hearted person supposed to say after what we've seen? I said they've turned you from Holocaust victims into genocidal killers in the public mind.
I'm being honest with you. I don't know if a lot of people actually take the time and really think about the situation going on over there, but I want a lot of people to at least ask themselves this question. At least ask yourself. The United States talks about we have issues in like the Republican Party, Democratic Party. They talk about, welfare queens, and we need to cut back on Medicaid and, cut some of these public services that we give because, people are lazy. They need to get up, pick themselves up by the bootstraps, and work. And then you look at the United States expenditures when it comes to money that they send to different countries. You know who the number one recipient of our money is when it comes to countries that we send aid to? It's Israel. We send billions of dollars over there on the regular. Only right now Ukraine done caught up to them because Ukraine been in a war. But caught up to them at least on yearly expenditure. Caught up to them, not overall, not even close. Damn, when I think about the numbers, I need to actually pull them numbers up for y'all. That shit is outrageous how much money we spend over there. But you should ask yourself, why? Why? And I know some people will come around and say, well, there's God's chosen people. Go read your book and see if they God's chosen people. We don't utter a word in disregard to them over there and where our money is going. And when you do, they call you an anti-Semite. If you challenge or question anything about this country, they will kick you out the country. Why? Trump been kicking them. I've been throwing people out of college for saying something against them. They've been over there murking them Palestinians. They say they hunt Hamas. Anybody that believe that nonsense, keep on believing it, man, because I can't change your mind. They've been over there murking Palestinians. It's been televised. It's been documented. It ain't got so bad that they won't even let reporters in there now. These people go to get food aid. They get knocked off while they trying to get some flour. And we sit here and continually fund that. He's saying the people that put them in that gas chamber, the people that persecuted them are the same people that are funding their ass right now. And we need to ask ourselves why. That's a big question. Why? Because the sad part, man, this ain't number. Well, I ain't even gonna say that yet. I'm gonna say that. Let's keep going.
All the blood that you're spilling is only whitewashing them of what they did to you for centuries. Can't you see that? You're justifying what they did to you. And because you insisted that Israel and Judaism are one and the same thing, that only ensures that every Jew now is going to bear the shame and bear the blame and bear the ignominy of what Israel has done and what Israel is doing. Oh, they've got you boxed in. And you let them box you in. I mean, look, Iran, let's talk about Iran. Let me tell you about your situation, your Iran situation. First of all, your whole claim, all these decades, your whole rationale for why the United...
And picture this, y'all. Remember, this is, and we're going to talk about what transpired a while ago. I did a little quick little video in the car the other day on the way into work about this. But Israel, you know, they dealing with the Gaza, Hamas and all that, and Palestinians and all that. Yeah, you know, they saying how it's terrible. The United States needs to help them out. These people attacked them on October or whatever the hell, or something like that. These guys, while they're fighting them, and it's so stressful and hard for them to deal with Hamas, they decide out of nowhere that they're gonna bomb Iran. Like, yeah, we're fighting Hamas, but you know, we got a little time. Shoot some rockets over there to Iran. And then you know what transpired after that, Trump and all that bombing and all that stuff transpired. I ain't even finna go into detail. I don't know why you calling me while I'm doing the show. Let's keep going.
The United States had to keep giving you money, had to keep giving you weapons, why you were useful to launder American taxpayer money into the military-industrial complex, right? Why no one is supposed to object to that. No one is supposed to object to the billions and billions and billions of dollars of their money that went to your so-called defense instead of to their own schools, instead of to their own hospitals, their own roads, their own bridges, their own infrastructure. The whole reason that everyone was supposed to go along with that without any complaint was...
And that's a good one. And shout out to Marcus. I saw you up in here. Shout out to Marcus. School for Justice said, what's good, fam? Black folks still think Trump gonna give money to help us. Yeah, I'm trying not to say the point. But black folks should really definitely be looking at this kind of funny. Because we need a lot of help in this country. We need some reparations. We got some bills that are past due that need to be paid around here. But no, we don't want to pay that, but we'll send money all the way across the ocean to these folks over there. And you, once again, you have to ask yourself, for what? You got white people bugging out and ODing in trailer parks on opioids, but they still sending money over there. You got to ask yourself, why? Why?
Because you were supposed to be in perpetual existential crisis, because you were surrounded by hordes of angry Arabs who wanted to drive you into the sea. Angry, violent Muslims. So you were constantly under threat. And because, of course, people thought of you as Holocaust victims. So, of course, we have to protect you. The American people have to protect you. Even if that really just means protecting defense industry profits. But the rationale worked. You know, the rationale worked because everyone thought, poor little Israel was surrounded and in danger. Okay, Egypt made peace with you. Jordan made peace with you. Turkey made peace with you. The UAE made peace with you. Bahrain made peace with you. Sudan made peace with you. Morocco made peace with you. Now even Saudi Arabia say that they're willing to make peace with you. Lebanon is willing to make peace with you. Syria is willing to make peace with you. Even Indonesia, the most populous Muslim country in the world, on the other side of the world, they're also willing to make peace with you. You know, Hezbollah has been decapitated. And even Hamas is willing to step down, and they're willing to step aside, which means, in practical terms, disarming and disbanding and letting another authority take over Gaza. Another authority who will be willing to negotiate peace with you. So there's nobody left that you can claim threatens you except for Iran. And now, apparently, you're acting like you want to dismantle even that alleged threat. So no one's going to be left now to even justify why anyone needs to protect you anymore. I mean, I know you're trying to resuscitate ISIS in Syria, and you started that dumb little militia in Gaza, that what's his name? Abu Shabab or whatever his name is. Obviously, this isn't going to go anywhere. This is ridiculous. So you think now that you want to go to war with Iran. You want to go after Iran, which you know you cannot defeat on your own. Your own people have said as much. Your own officials, your own military have said as much. You know that you need America to do that. But you understand, America entering the war means regional war. And you are in the region. I know you don't care about what happens to any other country in the region, but if a regional war kicks off, you better believe that Iran is going to unload everything they have on you. And if you think that America is going to be worried about protecting you in that scenario, you are sorely mistaken. The only thing that America is going to care about protecting, if that happens, is their own bases and their own interests in the Gulf.
Yeah, I want y'all to know he talked about this probably how many days ago? 7 days ago. We've seen what has transpired. Israel attacked Iran. Iran attacked them back. Trump did all that whoop-de-whoop talking and shit for a second, and then out of nowhere you hear about him bombing Iran. Now he want to wash his hands of that shit. Please make peace. Make peace, please. I told him to stop fighting. Come on. He just want to wash his hands of it. He's telling you. He already predicted before it even happened. Because you done seen this cycle. You done seen this cycle. They're going to hype you up. They're going to get into it. But then when it starts to be politically not beneficial to them, stepping back, bro. Stepping back, bro. That's your fight. That's your fight. We're going to still give you money, but we ain't going to get involved like that like we used to. And it's about to get to the point where American citizens are going to get fed up with this nonsense. And they're going to say, man, stop spending our money over there. They're going to give Israeli people, these people who call themselves the Jews, they're going to give them a bad rap around the world, at least in America, because they're trying to force. If y'all have not noticed this, where have you ever seen in America where they will literally kick you out the country if you say something bad about a group of people? Because they've been talking about niggas the whole time. We've been here. They ain't got no problem with that shit. They ain't gonna kick you out of the country for that. You want to talk about Hispanics? Oh man, go ahead all day. Free reign. I will get an Asian props. Y'all did get an anti-Asian hate bill, but they still was dogging y'all out during COVID. They were dogging y'all ass out. They had to go make a bill for y'all. But these motherfuckers over here, these people, wow, they're kicking students out the country. They're investigating people because they speak ill of the doings of what's going on over there. When anybody can see in common damn sense. Like, bro, that ain't right, bro. Oh, you talking against Israel? Bro, it's like, dude, these people going to get food, bro, and y'all just knocking them off. Y'all sitting there sniping them off. That's wrong. No, you're anti-Semitic. Like, what? What? Punishing people calling out bullshit. And the fucked up shit is this the same party that talked about the Democrats coming for them. Oh, you want a fucking police speech? Y'all are literally kicking people out the fucking country because they speaking against another country doing some fucked up shit to some other people. Make that make sense in America. Matter of fact, I need Bernie. Bernie, where you at, bro? Where you at, Bernie?
That ain't right. It ain't right.
Makes absolutely no damn sense. Hypocrites are the finest. But either way, though, I don't let them keep going, bro, because I'm about to get pissed off.
They're going to defend Saudi Arabia. They're going to defend the UAE. They're going to defend Qatar because Iran is going to strike them too. No one's going to be trying to save you. Why should they? You don't have oil. You don't control vital shipping routes. What do you have? Your whole economic model is parasitic. And Donald Trump, remember, Donald Trump is transactional. So think that through. The GCC gives him billions, even potentially trillions of dollars. Meanwhile, Israel does nothing but beg for money. No one wants to protect you. If America enters the war, you ought to understand that it will only make things worse for you, not better. Can't you see that? Tel Aviv is going to be flattened. Your ports will be vaporized. Your little natural gas fields are going to be on fire. Your cities will be demolished. And yes, your people are going to flee. They're fleeing already. They're fleeing already by their tens of thousands. Some say 100,000 already sailed off on boats and yachts to Cyprus. They're all escaping the possibility that maybe they'll be hit by an Iranian rocket after just 1 week of conflict. You must be out of your mind if you think that America entering the war and escalating the war is going to be good for you in any way whatsoever. They want to finish you. Don't you understand that? Look, construction in your country, in Israel, has already stopped. It already stopped 600 days ago. When your buildings get damaged, they're staying damaged. Do you understand? Do you have any idea how much more damage Iran can absorb than you can absorb? Their country is 70 times larger than you. 70 times. Their army is at least 4 times larger than you. And their soldiers aren't on TikTok. They're not quitting. They're not refusing to serve. They're not getting taken off duty for mental problems. They're not committing suicide. They're not killing themselves. No, it doesn't even matter how much damage America could potentially do to Iran. You cannot sustain a fraction of what Iran can sustain, and that's just a fact. If this goes on for even just 6 months, you're looking at an economic toll on your economy of upwards of $165 billion. That's 35% of your GDP. Double that if it goes on for a year, and it can go on for a year if it's a full-blown war and Iran starts to get replenishments of their artillery from Russia, China, North Korea, whatever, and if they reactivate their proxies, oh yes, it can go on. And yes, the fact of the matter is that your people all have somewhere else to go when things get bad. Iranians don't, you understand? Iranians don't even have to carry out a mass casualty attack in Israel. They don't have to focus on that. All they have to do is land one rocket in one building, and everyone in every apartment of that building is on a plane to New York. They're on a plane to Paris or to Moscow. They can literally depopulate your whole country just by targeting infrastructure. Because at the end of the day, you're all pampered Westerners, after all.
Then I'm going to get to later, but I'm going to let somebody else say it first. But he has look, he's 100% correct. People in Iran, I got to say it the way they say it, Iran, can't just get up and just go to another country like the United States or go to Europe. Trump already made it perfectly clear, bro. You black or brown, you Arab, you ain't come to the United States, bro. No. White Afrikaners, oh yeah, come on in. Israelis, oh yeah, y'all come on in. Them Iranians can't leave. Them folks in Israel, and they did it already. When after Israel attacked Iran, and Iran started sending them rockets back over there, like, oh, that's what y'all want to do? We're gonna hit you back. We got rockets. Oh, you should have seen the Palestinians the Israelis at the airport, dipping, hundreds of them, getting on an airplane, trying to get up out of there. Don't let the liberal, matter of fact,
Don't let the liberal media tell you how to think and feel. If you have hate in your heart, let it out.
Disregard the last part. We ain't talking about hate, but don't let the media tell you. It ain't just the liberal, even the conservative. Don't let the media sit around and tell you that these folks ain't getting up and moving when shit hit the fan. Them motherfuckers getting up and getting the fuck on. And I'll show y'all the video a little bit later. After Iran started sending them rockets and we was watching on TV, Iran with the bomb in their ass all night. Y'all like, oh, y'all gonna attack us like that? Oh, they were dropping them bombs. Luckily, they were shooting some of them out the sky, but a lot of them were getting through though. Man, them folks was on planes, bro. They were coming right over here to the United States. They were taking their ass right over there to Europe, going right back home. Don't let me spoil it by saying they going home, but they was going home. They was going home. Either way, I'm let them keep going. Look, it's just not fair. It's not fair and it's not right. They can get up and move and go about their business, but the Iranians, y'all attack them and they can't go nowhere. They in their country.
You're not trying to live without Wi-Fi and cappuccinos. You know it and I know it. You're not ready to die for the Zionist cause. I mean, be serious. And then there's the fact that, what do you think happens if they escalate the war? What do you think happens when American soldiers start dying for you? Listen, Americans don't even want to see American soldiers overseas supposedly dying for their own country. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, or wherever else, according to the rationale that they give their soldiers in the soldiers' statements.
We don't.
You notice that they didn't even send their own soldiers to go and fight in Ukraine against their arch enemy, Russia. I mean, firstly, what on earth makes you think that they're even going to be willing to fight and die for you when they don't even want to send their soldiers, like I said, to go fight and die supposedly for their own country, you know, in various military engagements around the world? What makes you think that you're not just going to get Ukrained out of existence by your best friend, Uncle Sam? They're willing to fight Russia down to the last Ukrainian. What makes you think that they're not going to be willing to fight Iran all the way down to the last Israeli? Wallahi, you're not reading the room at all. But if the United States does actually escalate and get into the war, and they actually do send their own soldiers, well, how does that play out? Think that through again. Now your country is not only going to be responsible for the blood of Palestinians, for the blood of Arabs, but mothers across the United States are going to hold you responsible for the blood of their sons and daughters. I'm telling you, they're not doing anything but set you up to be hated and disposed of. And you should be able to see it. I'm surprised that you can't, honestly.
There's a word that they used to say a lot. I used to hear it a lot growing up. And the word I'm thinking about right now, because this kind of applies to them, he's not going to say it to him, but I'll say it. Useful fucking idiot. Useful, take the F word out. Useful idiot. That's what it is. Useful idiot. They're being a useful idiot. You know how to say something like in a lot of Arab countries? Like, come on, man, let's be real. They'll use you to go do it and let you take all the blame for it. But the sad part is you already want to do it. You just need a little funding to do it. And they're going to give it to you. You're not even supposed to be there, bruh. You're not even supposed to be there. And I'm going to talk about that because I'm going to let this stream run. I'm going to let the stream run because I want to cover all of it because we're going to talk about the history, how these people even got there. How these people even got there. Because I know their claim. I know what their claim is. Keep claiming that till the cows come home. I'm not buying it. You know, it's like, like an economy, man, you gotta lower the price. If you gotta lower the price if there's a big supply, and you gotta raise it if there's a small supply. Well, you will raise it if there's a small supply. I'm gonna let y'all sit on that one for a second. I ain't even gonna say it. Let Miss Liz break it down, bro. I ain't gonna break it down. Nah, I'm gonna hold off on this one real quick. Like, I'm gonna let him keep talking, man. I'm gonna let him keep talking because we gonna get to it.
But maybe you're just so in love with the people who tormented you and tortured you for centuries that you just can't see it. I don't know what it is. But it gets worse. Because like I said, your people are going to flee. But also, like I said, you've made the whole world hate you now. So where exactly are they going to go? Now, we know that the U.S. Took in Nazi scientists after World War II, so they'll probably be willing to take in your top tech people too. But what about the rest of you? What about the rank and file? The only way that they can escape is if they completely deny being Israeli. I know most of them are atheists and they only actually claim their Jewishness, so-called, to gain access to Israeli citizenship. But once they escape a war-torn Israel, they won't even want to claim that anymore, believe me. Again, because you stupidly insisted that Israel and Judaism are one and the same thing. So that left them with now the only choice that they have is to disavow their Israeliness. And in so doing, they're going to have to repudiate their Jewishness. Do you see? Netanyahu and his neocon white supremacist backers are destroying you as a nation, as a people. They're destroying you because they hate you. And they always have hated you. And you know this. There's no way that you don't know this. I mean, you got into bed with the Christian Zionists. And you and I both know that the Christian Zionists' whole motivation is to see you get slaughtered in their end times Armageddon porn fantasy. And you know that the main backers of Zionism back in the day in Europe were the most Jewish-hating segments of the power structure. So you know perfectly well. You haven't fooled yourselves. You know perfectly well that they have hated you this whole time. And now you can see where that's gotten you. Trusting.
Hey, keyword rapture. Rapture anybody? Anybody trying to trigger a rapture around here?
And depending on people who hate you. Honestly, this has got to be the most epic series of bad choices in history that you've made. And here's the biggest irony. You know what the biggest irony is? The biggest irony is that the only countries that would still potentially be safe for you are the Muslim countries, the Arab countries. The very countries that you've been saying all this time want to destroy you. Meanwhile, you literally hooked up with the people who have never done anything but try to destroy you, literally for hundreds of years. But the Muslims and the Arabs were always welcoming. They were always hospitable to you. They always gave you shelter. They always gave you safe haven. And now their countries are the only countries that might be willing to host you again. They're the countries that are going to rebuild Israel after people flee, after your people flee. Think about that. After the war that you think you want so badly. The irony is poetic. Yes, the Arabs and the Muslims are going to be the ones to rebuild. They will fund the reconstruction. They will pump in the investment. And the people who partnered with you in your self-destructive war against the Arabs and against the Muslims, those people are going to be partnering with us in those reconstruction projects. Oh, you're being tricked in every which way. I don't know, honestly, how you can't see it. I mean, don't you see how Trump's own crowd, his own crowd, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens, the Steve Bannons, and so on, why they've been not so subtly opening the lid off of that repressed right-wing anti-Jewish vitriol for the last 600 days. No one's taking the fall for this but you. Do you understand? You're taking the fall. And no one should have seen it coming better than you. You've watched them over the past. You've watched them. You participated with them. Every single time they turned on someone that they committed crimes with. You know what I'm talking about. But you thought that they wouldn't do it to you for some reason. When they have the absolutely longest record of hating your people. You know, they did it to Saddam. They did it to Noriega. They did it to Mobutu. They did it to the Shah. They did it to Mubarak, to the Contras. I mean, on and on and on. But you thought they really loved you. Is that it? You thought they really loved you. You thought that they really loved you with all of their Nazi scientists, their KKK, and their dream of end times Jewish annihilation. You thought they loved you. You thought they'd never turn on you. Well, I mean, tell me, did you really think that when they were spreading all of that propaganda about how powerful AIPAC is, and about how much the Jews control the media, and how much the Jews control finance, and how you supposedly run the world, and what have you, are you telling me that you all thought that that was flattery? Complimentary? Did you think it was all pillow talk? No, they were setting you up to take the blame for everything that they used you to do.
It's the same thing that I say to a lot of my black conservatives. You go join with the people that sit here and talk all goddamn day about you not having nothing. Talk down on your race and your people. And you go join with them motherfuckers. Like, what you think you gonna get? Y'all remember Byron Donalds? Y'all remember Byron Donalds? He was that dude out of Florida, senator or some shit. He was all up there thinking that he was gonna get a cabinet position with Trump. He was out there telling black folks, you need to vote for Trump. You need to think for yourself. This motherfucker from the Caribbean and some shit. That's where his ancestry come from. He ain't even really from America like that. But he out there telling all of us, goddamn, go do this, go do that. And yeah, you was a useful fucking idiot. You helped get that motherfucker elected, and that motherfucker ain't give you shit. Not a guy. He ain't put one black person in his cabinet. He had them dumbass niggas out there marching around telling black folks that they need to do this and do that. And after he wins, he don't give none of y'all motherfuckers a goddamn cabinet position. Not near nothing. Not near nothing. But they've been sitting around telling you who the fuck they is for the longest. Same thing with Israel. These motherfuckers in America been telling y'all dumbass they don't like y'all. These motherfuckers marched saying Jews will not replace us. And you still willing to... Hey man, what they saying, you lay down with dogs, you're gonna catch fleas.
For all the crimes that they commissioned for you to commit on their behalf. You understand? Oh, they're gonna shell you down the river, just like they've done to every other accomplice that they ever duped to commit heinous crimes on their behalf. The same as what you've done. That's what your whole country's history has been. But maybe you thought it was going to be different with you because you're Western, because you're white, because you're European, or what have you. But I mean, open your eyes. So are the Ukrainians. I mean, in fact, if you're looking properly, you can see very clearly that America has already thrown the entirety of Europe under the bus. They don't care. I mean, at least the Europeans are starting to get some level of cognizance to recognize, to one extent or another anyway, even if it's after like 3 years of very obvious American-European divorce proceedings, the Europeans are starting to understand that there's America and there's the rest of the world, and that's it. But you still think that these people are your friends. And now you're begging for the US to enter your war with Iran. But trust me, that's the absolute last thing that you need to have happen. You know, you're so used to the idea that escalation is always to your advantage, but that's not the case anymore. That's not the case this time, and it's not the case anymore. If there is escalation, it just brings you even faster to devastation. Like I said, what on earth do you have to protect? Think about it, honestly. What is there to protect when you know how the real game works in 2025? I mean, clearly you don't know how it works. So let me tell you. I mean, here's the calculation. A war-torn Israel is at least twice as attractive to investors than Israel intact. Come on, you know this. You know how investors see a war-torn Israel, how they see any war-torn country. They see opportunity. They don't see tragedy. They don't see collapse. They see opportunity because that's what it is for them. Because when it's...
Hey, does Trump saying that the United States was going to take over Gaza, you know, when build nice penthouses, that ring a bell to what the fuck he talking about right now? Because that did happen, y'all. Y'all remember that? You remember when Netanyahu brought his ass over here to the White House and Trump was talking about, yeah, United States is going to take over that, and, you know, just think it's going to be the most beautiful villas. We're just going to make it look amazing over there. United States is going to take over. It was all over the news. It was like, what Trump mean by that? They want you to be fucked up. Because when you're fucked up and you need help, guess what? I can take advantage of you. Then tricked your dumb ass into doing to people what was done to you. Amazing, right?
A state like Israel gets hit hard, gets hit fast, gets hit on multiple fronts. What you get isn't just the rubble, you get a liquidation event. You get distressed assets. You get regulatory suspension by the government. You get panic sale. You get state desperation. You get privatization writ large. That's war dividend. Before the war, Israel was expensive. Bloated asset prices. You had real estate in Tel Aviv was like the same as Manhattan. The tech sector was overheated. Regulation was heavy. Civil resistance was loud. You couldn't touch most of the markets unless you were already embedded in those markets or you were overpaying to participate in those markets. But after the war, everything flips. Property values plummet. Owners liquidate. The government fast tracks permits. Permits that would normally take years. Zoning laws vanish under emergency conditions. And nobody's going to call it exploitation because it's reconstruction. Even better, the state needs you. You understand? The state needs you. Israel is going to hemorrhage public funds to rebuild. But of course, they can't foot the bill. They don't have that kind of money. They spend too much. So it sells their future off in bonds, in land, in long-term infrastructure deals. You understand? And who do you think has that kind of cash to buy all of that? Again, think it through.
United States.
Because it gets worse. Foreign capital, especially from the GCC, especially from the Gulf, is going to flood you. Not for solidarity, not for peace, but because devastation lowers resistance, and out of money, out of ownership, out of residence, in peace, gentrification gets protested, but in war, it's welcomed as salvation. Every Israeli by 2030 is going to be telling his new Arab landlord.
I want y'all to hear that again. Say that one more time, because a lot of people don't get it.
In peace, gentrification gets protested, but in war, it's welcomed as salvation.
That man didn't say something. He just said something right there.
Every Israeli by 2030 is going to be telling his new Arab landlords and his new Arab investors, I was a peacenik back in the day. I was against the genocide. I protested Netanyahu. I'm an anti-Zionist. That's what you're going to be saying in 5-10 years. So when you think about how much more attractive Israel is for investors after war, now think about whether or not you really want America to escalate. Put it this way. If pre-war Israel intact, scores a 3 out of 10 on the return on investment risk-reward scale for cold capital, post-war, it jumps to 8 or 9. Because now you're not competing with legacy oligarchs anymore. They all left on their yachts. You watched them go. You're not going to be stuck in bureaucratic paralysis because you're the solution. You're the savior. You're the savior investor, angel investor. And the very people that you hyped up as your mortal enemies are going to be taking over with the help of the very people who promised to protect you against those same people. Welcome to Reconstruction. It's de-Zionization on an industrial scale. Now, you aren't doing anything when you escalate this war, but accelerate the end of your own colonial project. You should be able to see that. No one's worried on our end. Do you have any idea how much richer our countries are going to get as a result of your delusions of genocidal grandeur? Oh, and yes, it's going to be our money. Not loans, not gifts, not aid from the United States. Our money, our land, our dominion, our sovereignty. You know that saying in the Bible, your Judeo-Christian friends attribute it to Jesus, alayhi salam, in the Bible. The meek shall inherit the earth, they say. Well, the more accurate translation of the word meek is those who are gentle, who are humble, and who are disciplined in their strength. Those who do not assert themselves through violence. That's what meek means here. So the right way to say that passage in the Gospels, blessed are those who are patient. Blessed are those who are humble, with power under restraint, for the land will be theirs. That's what it said. I know you don't believe any aspect of the Christian side of the Judeo-Christian equation, but that's fine. The Torah says the same thing. It says, that those who are not arrogant shall inherit the land. They shall inherit the land and they shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Or as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised to those among you who believe and who do righteous deeds that he will surely grant them succession in the land. So it doesn't matter which book you want to look at, which book you believe in. You and I both know that none of these refer to you, and none of these refer to the Americans, and none of these verses refer to the Westerners. No. There is only one nation that fits that description, and you know it and I know it. There's only one nation that is right now seeing that play out in the region. And you and I both know that it's the Muslims. And what you need to understand is that this is going to happen with or without a war with Iran. It's going to happen with or without escalation. It's going to happen with or without America entering the war. Because this is just the trajectory. This is the way it's going. So you can either do it the easy way or the hard way. These are really your options. You're choosing to do it the hard way, but that's going to result in a much harder outcome for you. It's not going to result in a harder outcome for us. The easy way gives you a much more softer landing. Doing it the hard way, well, it's going to be a harder landing.
Lying. He ain't lying. Because that's what's gonna come. That's what it's gonna come down to. American citizens have gotten to the point, and a lot of them are gonna get there if they haven't gotten there yet. They're gonna start questioning, why are we spending money on different countries, especially why are we spending money on them? Once they become the target of the conversation, things are gonna have to start changing because people are gonna get pissed off. When we say we don't have money to do for our own, you're gonna start questioning why we sending money to other folks. Why are our sons and our daughters going over there for that? We don't want that. People are going to get pissed off, and then they're going to be stuck. They're going to be stuck over there. And the same people that they've been attacking are going to be the ones that end up taking that shit from them first. They're going to be the first ones to move right up in there, because the sad part is they were already there. They were already there. Now, look, a while ago, I had a conversation with a dude from Tel Aviv by the name of Agoda. Y'all might have seen him around YouTube. And I talked to him about this. I talked to him about the situation before it even really got super stupid. But I already knew what the fuck was going on over there beforehand, before that October, fucking for all that shit happened. And they want to use that as justification for every goddamn thing. I know what the fuck they've been doing to them folks over there. This man referred to them folks as animals. I'm talking about the Palestinians. He referred to them as dogs. I played like he was the victim in the situation. You referred to people as that's something that we used to do in America. Something we used to do in America. Because if you know, like if you take this person and give them the quality of or the value of something that you just throw away like trash, won't nobody care if you throw away the trash. And that's the mindset of a lot of them over there when it pertains to how they feel about the Arabs, the Palestinians that are over there. And that's how they treated them. I don't even want to go into it deep. I ain't even finna do it. Look. We had Saint the Center talking to one of them. Saint the Center started talking to one of these Israeli dudes overseas. He's over there in the country, man. He's over there in the country. He ain't in Tel Aviv or nothing, because that's like their biggest city. Well, at least the one that be popping. But he's right down the street from it. And he had a conversation with him. And I want you to hear this guy, because they swear that that's their land. They go off of their book and say that they're the true Jews, they're the Hebrews, they're God's chosen people and all this voodoo. I highly disagree. I think they're just white folks. But I'm gonna let y'all listen to the conversation he about to have with him, because I know I might have an Israeli person gonna be like, oh, yeah, sure. Bitch, you Israeli. I mean, you ain't Israeli, you're European. Yes, you're a white dude, like Caucasus Mountains, motherfuckers. Either way, though, let's go ahead and see what Saint got on this shit, because bruh, I just don't understand sometimes.
Were you born in Israel?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so yes, you're a part of a reasonably unique subsection of Israel where all you know is Israel. And if you were told to go back to fill in the blank, like it would be Israel as far as your lifetime is concerned.
When you're saying go back, you need to know, like, people need to understand, like, hey, you have read the Bible. I came from here, from Judea and Samaria. That's the name of my origin, Jews. Like, this is where I came from. Like, if you go like 10 kilometers away from my house, there's open spaces. How can I say it?
Look, before he go into he trying to describe something.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
That ain't your people they talking about in the Bible, buddy.
When you dig for roads.
Or your Torah. That ain't the people. Y'all ain't the people they talking about.
Right. Build a new road. Yes. Sometimes you find new like ruins or start from from an old age, like 300, 400 feet, like even 1,000 years ago. And every time you found it, like 99% of the time, it is related. Like the 1% is the Greeks and the Romans that actually came here to try to control the region in the old days. But rest of them is just like old synagogues and Jewish old letters and all the antiques, whatever, but everything points out to be Jews. So we are indigenous to this region, grew up.
But let's dig in real quick. So firstly, you had mentioned that you are native to that land or indigenous to that land, whereas I know many Jews in America mostly, and I know some Israelis as well. Most of them beautiful women, some of them thick, but they all route their most immediate history that they're familiar with to Europe. So, their parents are from Estonia, parents are from Ukraine, parents or grandparents are from Russia. Every single Jewish person I know, where's your grandmother from? Where's your great grandmother from? It's Europe. Where are your grandparents from?
I can tell you, my grandparents, both of them lived descendants, right? From one from Bulgaria and one from Spain. Actually, Spain, there'd been a deportation because in 1700, the thing is, the cycle always keep repeating. Like, you can't tell the Jew, go to this country, you'll be safe there, because they have been prosecuted in Spain. So they actually ran to Israel before even the First World Wars.
Sure.
There was nothing here, like nothing. But
have you been to Bulgaria, by the way?
I need to. I haven't.
Yeah, I hear good things about Sofia. I want to check it out myself. Mind you, I will cut you off from time to time, so you'll have to forgive me for that. So with regards to, and there's just so much to discuss, so we'll try to dig in. And are you in Tel Aviv as we speak?
Actually, no. I'm living Rosh Ain. It's like, you need to understand, since this state is 700 kilometers, everything is close. Like, I'm 15 minutes from Tel Aviv, 15 minutes from every central city in every direction, kind of.
Understood. Okay, so you're in a proper city outside of Tel Aviv that's still proximate to Tel Aviv.
It is, yeah.
Okay, and you're not in a bunker. You're in your own personal flat as of now, until a siren might go off, at which point you would have to then go to a bunker.
Yep, correct.
Okay. Oh yeah, let me ask you this before we get going too deep. I'm going to address some of the things you mentioned. This is the kind of conversation that is really important to hear, because it's a sincere conversation. There's no hatred on my part. There's no hatred on his part. We respect one another as men. And we want to have a conversation wherein we can have some.
Saint be trying to talk a lot, man.
People are Europeans and they are white, and there's nothing wrong with that.
All right, here we go.
And Jews I know come from Europe. Do you have any near, recent ancestors that come from Europe? And he says, yeah, Bulgaria and Spain, which are both European nations. And it only verifies what I've said many times, which is that the people who are calling themselves Jews who control Israel are Europeans and they are white, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's more so colonial settler state, and their story with the Bible, the Torah, their story of origin, and the reason that they believe they're entitled to that land is a necessary fiction so that they're not viewed poorly. Like, even when I'm traveling throughout the world, whether it's the Middle East or Europe or even Africa, if I encounter someone who's a racist, which every now and then, the racism will jump up out of someone, their first insult, because they can't insult me directly, right? Like, what is there to say directly? They're not going to insult my height because I'm tall. They're not going to insult my looks because my face is symmetrical. They're not going to insult my teeth because they grew in straight. I didn't even need braces. They're not going to insult my clothing because it's all custom. They're not going to insult my accommodations because it's 5-star. So what do they go to? Circumstance. So they'll say, "Oh, you're a slave." I'm like, well, I'm pretty well off for a slave now. And so I say that to say, like, someone's story of origin matters a lot, and it dictates the way that you are viewed, your story of origin. And whereas the blacks in America did not create their story of origin, nor did they modify their story of origin, they're viewed relatively poorly. And this is a reference point that hateful persons always reach back to. Oppositely, the Jews, those who call themselves Jews today and live in Israel, they have created their narrative. They've associated it with something quite powerful, and they try their best to control that narrative, even if it would cause you to not believe your eyes. Yes, even if they would, you look at them and you're like, this is a white European, and they tell you, no, I'm from the Middle East. You're like, but you have red hair, or you have blue eyes, or you're clearly not from the Middle East. But they'll tell you to believe the story as opposed to the science or the clear evidence. And
that's one of the big problems. When I had a conversation with that guy, I'm trying to tell y'all, after he did all the animal calling and all that stuff, man, I was like, look, dude, man, look, you ain't nothing but a white dude over there. Bro, he got so pissed off. He's like, check my DNA. I was like, dude, what the fuck you talking about? Like, he's like, check my DNA. We are genetically been... Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Go walk in the bathroom real quick. Like, go look in that goddamn mirror. Right? You see what you see? Now go in there and ask your grandma and your granddaddy, or your mom and your daddy, where the fuck they from? Go ask them where their grandmama and their granddaddy was from. They not gonna say where the fuck you at if you in Israel right now. They not gonna say that. They not gonna say that. You don't say Germany, Switzerland, France, Spain, I almost said Germany one time. All them countries. I don't know all them goddamn countries over there. Goddamn it, fuck. They gonna say they from somewhere over there. They not gonna say from where the fuck where you are right now if you're in Israel. Talking about this is our land. It ain't your goddamn land.
That is actually very clever on their part, and I can't hate them for being wise and exercising the best in strategy to get what they want.
So if the whole Iraq thing didn't happen, 9/11 and so on and so forth, things would be a lot different.
No, I said if Israel was never forcibly created, if the Western powers, the United States, Britain, namely, if they did not force a group of Europeans into the Middle East and murder to establish the state of Israel, and then engage in continuous murder to sustain and grow the state of Israel, that the peoples in Palestine and the Muslims surrounding would not have taken offense, and we would not be in protracted war, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but you do know, like the Jews lived here also before.
That's a fairy tale.
What? Sorry?
Name 2 books that were written at the time that the Jews were there that explain that the Jews, white Jews, were there, and then white Jews went back to the factory of white people, which is Europe. Are there any historical texts that were written during that time that validate that, aside from the texts that? Okay, what are they?
Do you know Tom Sawyer, author? Sorry, what do you call it?
I'll pull up the book right now. What's it called?
What's the author of Huckleberry Finn? I forgot his name.
Yes, I'm familiar with the author of Huckleberry Finn. Right. But I stated specifically books that were written during that time, meaning a historian observing.
No, but I'm trying. No, listen. I'm trying to say something very specific. Why I bring it up? Because he was actually here. He was here before the establishment of the state, and he described what he saw. He saw Jews. He saw Arabs. They was not called Palestinians by then. He called this land barren and empty. He, I quote, didn't think anybody would live here. Who would live here? What is this country? Nothing is there except.
But if
Jerusalem.
that was true, the Palestinians wouldn't say that you're stealing their land. If that was true, there wouldn't have been a 2-state solution. If that were true, what Christopher Columbus said when he came to the Americas would also be fictional, which is to say he said he discovered the Americas. He didn't discover it. The people living there had discovered it. And so what you're basically referencing is the perspective of a person who is ill-informed or dishonest. And that happens. Sometimes an individual man may be ill-informed or dishonest. In the case of Christopher Columbus, he was surely both. He was ill-informed and dishonest. And so you're suggesting that the land that you guys have occupied forcibly was empty, and that's just not true. The sloganization about
I didn't say it though.
That's what you're leading to right now.
Actually, no. People lived here, Jews and Israelis.
Yes, and if that's the case, why did the people who were in Europe need to flee?
Now, see, he keeps saying that there were supposedly Jews, his people, the one he claiming to be, and Arabs there. So why the hell y'all trying to kick the Arabs out if they were already there, but it's your land? Make that make sense. And that's your whole argument. Why are you scratching like that? They're scratching like a motherfucker. But he hadn't said it twice. He's like, no, there were Jews and Arabs here. And they're claiming to be the Jews. So, you know, you weren't there by yourself. But what y'all been doing over there? Y'all just been trying to murk all the Arabs out of y'all land. Y'all just been taking land the whole time. That's all y'all been doing. Murking them people. That's why a lot of people don't be on your side. Y'all been murking them Palestinians. Y'all won't even let them bitches leave. Y'all literally have them living in pretty much a concentration camp. They can't come and go as they please. And they depend on you for everything. And all you keep doing is murking them and taking more of their land. That's why it's been a whole fight. That was a whole fight. That's the whole fight. But both of y'all been over there, right? But it's y'all land now, though, right? Okay.
Flee out of Europe and force their way into a land where they were not wanted. They should have stayed where they were.
And look, I'm gonna drop the link for y'all too, man. Because like I know some of y'all might have some thoughts on this, but this ain't it, man.
Force their way into a land where they were not wanted. They should have stayed where they were. And just like you said, you have ancestors who were most recently living in Bulgaria and Spain. And all the Jews that I know, they're from Ukraine, they're from Poland, they're from Estonia, they're from Romania, they're from Europe. That's where you guys are from. And so the question is, why didn't you stay where you are, where you were?
I'll answer it. Do you know what pogrom is?
I know exactly what that is. And so now, so that was a setup. You just fell into the trap. So here's a step 2 on that. So a pogrom, or an expulsion, or a persecution occurring toward the Jews. Now the question then is, well, why are people treating you like this? It's not like you're black, right? It's not like they look around and they're like, hey, we're white, you're black, we're going to treat you badly because you're so different than us. You see, black and white, we're nearly opposites in some ways, but you're white and they're white. And so really what happened is that you were practicing a different culture that was problematic within that nation, and they took offense to it, and they did what societies do. They punish behavior that they deem to be bad. Now the real question is not what's a pogrom. The real question is, what were you doing that caused you to be expelled from places where you're from?
The answer is very simple. What do you call it? There's like, I heard stories of my grandfather. They thought he's
in Bulgaria or in Spain?
In Spain.
In Spain, okay.
There's been a true like witch hunts and something crazy. They think we drink blood, like some crazy stuff.
Some of you guys do drink blood.
What?
Yes. I think it's called mitzvah bapeh, when they cut the foreskin of the infant's penis, and then the rabbi takes the penis into his mouth and drinks the blood from the penis. You're not familiar with that?
I actually haven't experienced it myself. I never seen anyone rabbi do that.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Some disgusting. I maybe overheard it, but I never saw anyone do it.
You've heard of this, though, right?
Sure. What about horns on our?
Oh, y'all got rabbis out here cutting baby penises and sipping on the blood of the baby penis? That's a little weird. I can see a society having an issue with that, you know?
Horns on our head.
A little weird.
No, I'm just saying that you said that they think that you drink blood, and I said, well, some of you do drink blood, so that's probably where that came from, which is to say it's not coming out of nowhere. It's not complete fabrication. Now, you're speaking of other things that are stereotypes, and they were created by hateful people. I agree. Is there anti-Semitism? Absolutely. Is there racism? Absolutely. So I'm not denying that. I think that you're correct in as much as that's the case. Is there jealousy? Oh, for sure. What? People are always jealous of winners, and frankly, the Jews are winning. So I agree with you there. So I was saying that a lot of people are jealous of the Jews, and jealousy is a terrible thing. And frankly, it's because you guys are doing a great job. And that's why I always, while being critical, I'm balanced. I also commend the good works. But what I'm saying is that some of the things you're speaking of with regards to the reason Jews may be persecuted in a given territory is it was earned. It wasn't that. I'm not saying it's right in every case. I'm saying it was earned, which is they don't want to assimilate. For example, I've lived in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and the Jews will not talk to you. I've lived in Baltimore, and there's a very wealthy section of Jews there. And of course, I was raising capital for the Johns Hopkins University. So I had some dealings with these folks, and they would even tell me that in their neighborhood, if someone's going to sell their house, they won't sell it to a goy. They'll only sell it to someone who's Jewish. And so there's no level of integration. So you go into a society that is not your own, and then you want to speak Yiddish, you want to have a Jewish police, the Shamrim, you want to completely separate and treat others as though they're less than, and then suggest that you are the superior people in the same way that the Nazis did. And so, of course, that's going to make you a hated people, right? I mean, that makes perfect sense, no?
Actually, no.
He's giving you cause and effect. He said no. First word out of his mouth, no. Let's see where he goes with that.
What you say is like you're assuming that if I'll go there, I'll be treated differently. I think
Oh no, I'm not assuming. I just told you. I'm saying from my experience. I lived in Hollywood, California, among Jews, and I have engaged them, and I see the way that certain of them behave. And I've lived in Baltimore, raised significant amounts of capital, particularly on behalf of the Johns Hopkins University. I've had conversations with these folks. I've seen how they treat them, and I recounted a true story to you. And I've also raised capital in Cincinnati, and this is when I tend to encounter higher numbers of Jews, even religious Jews, when I'm dealing in capital, high level finance. And there's certain conversations they won't have with you, and you can tell by the way that they treat you that there's a certain feeling. And then research will tell you that the Jews in New York, for example, have the Shamrim, and also in various places that I've been, Baltimore, Cincinnati, they have their own hospitals and their own schools. They live completely separately. There's no level of integration. There's no level of respect for the greater society. So I've spoken to many Jews in Hollywood, for example, even Jews from Iran, from Iran, and they'll be pretty transparent, some of them, but they have such heavy accents, and they were born and raised in America, and they have such heavy accents because they've been speaking Yiddish or Hebrew, and their English is bad. You understand? They have bad English. So what I'm speaking of is not of hearsay. I'm speaking of experience.
So Saint's trying to give his breakdown of it, trying to have a conversation with a guy about this situation. And look, I'm just saying straight up, man. Look, there's some white folks over there trying to take some Arab people land. That's what's going on right now. That's what's going on right now. And we're sitting around here co-signing that dumb shit. We out here co-signing that dumb shit. when we need to stay the fuck out of it. But look, I'm just gonna show you the goddamn history of this shit so you'll see. And it's gonna be very intricate. Look, man, I like this shit because I like when they do these videos like this, man. It's kind of like the infographics. If y'all ever watch the infographics channel, I like the way they do their videos. Give you a little, you'll see what I'm talking about. But check this out, man. This is gonna talk about the history of the Israel-Palestinian conflict, man. And shout out to the channel. Make sure I give a shout out. History on Maps. History on Maps. So let's see what their history is on this situation between these two nations that are seeming to be right beside each other and supposedly both got claims to some land that they both are fighting over, but one's doing a little bit more than the other. Let's see.
Israel, the world's only Jewish state, located east of the Mediterranean Sea, and Palestine, the territory of the Arab population that hails from the Israel-controlled land, have long been known for their enduring conflict with the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. The tension between Israel and Palestine has been deteriorating in years, climaxing with many violent clashes between the two sides. To understand the root of the Israel-Palestine conflict, we have to look back a few thousand years ago. Early history of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In the 17th centuries BC, following the call of God, 3 patriarchs of the Jewish people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, settled in Canaan, a region approximating present-day Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, parts of Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. The region later had the name the Land of Israel, the Promised Land, the Palestine region, or the Holy Land. In 1000 BC, King Saul established the Israelite monarchy, which then was ruled by King David, who made Jerusalem the capital of his kingdom, and his son King Solomon, who built the first temple in Jerusalem. After the death of King Solomon, the united monarchy was split into the Kingdom of Israel in the north, with Samaria as the capital, and the Kingdom of Judah in the south, with Jerusalem as the capital. The land became home to a majority of Jews, but then it was subject to numerous...
Now you see how he's trying to throw in some white folks in here. That's the one thing they keep doing. There weren't no white folks in this area during this time, but they'll keep doing it. They'll keep doing it. Like in this, I don't think a lot of them even understand that they're perpetuating the same bullshit that the Arabs are pushing against. Y'all white folks weren't in that area during that time. Not like that, bro. Not like that, bro.
Numerous conquests of various groups, leading to the significant decrease of the Jewish population on the land. One of these conquests was conducted by the Roman Empire, who gave the name Palestine to Judah, intending to break the Jewish connection with the land of Israel. During this time, Christianity, which started as a Jewish sect, ultimately became a dominant religion toward the end of the Roman Empire. In the 7th century came an Arab conquest, beginning the spread of Islam. The Dome of the Rock was built on the ruin of the Second Temple, making Jerusalem the holy city to 3 monotheistic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. After Christians in Jerusalem were intensely persecuted by the Seljuk Turks, a Central Asian empire with ambition to expand its territory, Christians in Europe launched several crusades to bring the holy city back to the hand of the Christians. During this time, many Jews were killed. Others were making pilgrimages everywhere, mostly in Western Europe. From the 16th century to World War I, the Holy Land, along with much of the Middle East, was ruled by the Ottoman Empire, an Islamic superpower. The land was unofficially called Palestine. At the same time in Europe, more and more Jews were joining a movement called Zionism, aiming to create a Jewish national state in its ancient homeland. Hence, in the first decade of the 20th century, tens of thousands of Jews moved from Europe back to the region. Israel and Palestine under the British rule. World War I exploded and ended with the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Its land in the Middle East was carved by the British and French empires. The British then gave more independence for Iraq and Jordan, and the region remaining under the control of Britain was what it called the British Mandate for Palestine, where Britain promised to establish a Jewish national homeland under its Balfour Declaration, which went into effect in 1923. Tensions between the Jews and the Arabs who both claimed the land grew, which even led to acts of violence. By the 1930s, following the increasing Jewish population in Palestine due to the fear of persecution during the Nazi reign in Germany, the British limited Jewish immigration. In response, the Jewish militias formed to both fight the Arabs and resist the British rule. Then came the Holocaust throughout Nazi Germany, which claimed almost 6 million Jewish lives. After the war, more and more Jews then fled from Europe to Palestine to seek a homeland, escalating the tension with the Arabs. Overwhelmed by the situation, Britain began to withdraw from the region. The birth of the Israel state. After World War II, the UN proposed a plan to partition Palestine into two independent states, a Jewish state and an Arab state, with the city of Jerusalem becoming an international zone with a special status. However, the plan according to which the Jewish, accounting for only 1/3 of the population, was granted more territory, 56.5% of the land, was rejected by the Arabs. They began to form volunteer armies throughout Palestine. Less than 1 year after that, as Britain...
Y'all just heard what he said. So the UN came up with a thing because both of these people been here. It's like, hey, we're going to carve it up. We're gonna split the land up. Y'all both have y'all state. Y'all ain't gotta be fighting down there, whatever. This is Europe stepping in. They did that little whole Balfour goddamn agreement. Made that little, that's gonna be the law for this land over here. Okay, like y'all fucking own that shit. But we're gonna split it up. And when the Arabs saw that, like, hey man, we make up 2/3 of the population over here, but you gonna give us less than 50% of the land? Nah, we ain't doing that, cuz. What kind of dumb shit is that? We been here. They claim they been here. Okay, well, guess what? We can both have the land, but it's more of us than them. The fuck you talking about? You just gonna come in here and take our shit? And that's what they were trying to do. And them folks said, nah, we good. So
completed its withdrawal from Palestine, Israel declared itself an independent state, marking a new, bloodier chapter in the struggle between the Jews and the Palestinian Arabs. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War. Right after the announcement of an independent Israel, a war between the Arabs and the Jews broke out, which was known as the 1948 Arab-Israeli War.
Now picture this, y'all. They went their ass over there and they starting shit, trying to take people's shit. These people been there. Even the young man, think about this, y'all. Even the young man on there talking to the saint. That motherfucker said, when that dude, the book author he wanted to refer to, said when he went over there, he observed Arabs and Jews. But it seemed like somebody trying to take the land just for themselves. They were already over there. Both of them over there with no problems. But it seemed like y'all flooding a bunch of motherfuckers from Europe up in here, and now we starting to get some problems.
The war involved 5 recently independent Arab nations, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, the Arab League, who invaded the region in an attempt to establish a unified Arab Palestine. However, a ceasefire agreement was reached a year later in which more than 2/3 of historic Palestine, including the West Jerusalem, belonged to Israel, while Jordan occupied East Jerusalem and the area known as the West Bank, and Egypt occupied the Gaza Strip. As a result, more than 750,000 Palestinians were expelled from the land where they lived for centuries on the day that they call Al-Nakba, or the catastrophe. With the deteriorated dispute between the Jews and the Arabs, there came more wars and fighting in the following decades. The 60-Day War. It was in 1967 when the 60-Day War broke out after a volatile period of diplomatic friction and skirmishes between Israel and its neighboring Arab states, Jordan, Syria, and Egypt. This brief war ended with the victory of Israel, giving Israel control over the Golan Heights from Syria.
Now, I want y'all to ask yourselves, these motherfuckers fighting Egypt, Jordan, and Syria, and somehow they won? How you think they won? How you think this small group of folks, supposedly, that's been getting persecuted over here, beat off 3 different nations? Then you start seeing where our money's been going.
West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and Gaza and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. Sinai was later returned to Egypt under the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty. After the war, most Palestinian refugees and their descendants were not allowed to return to their homes, but had to live in Gaza, the West Bank, and neighboring Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon.
Pick them out they shit.
The First Intifada and the Oslo Accords. The rising number of Israelis settling in the Palestinian territories in the West Bank and Gaza gave rise to the PLO, the Palestinian.
Think about it. They whoop their ass and kick them to an area, so y'all can have that area over there. We taking the rest of the shit. Now they encroaching on the area that they fucking sent them to.
Liberation Organization, first founded in Cairo, Egypt in 1964 to create a liberated Palestine in Israel. The PLO launched attacks on Israel from its base in Jordan. It was then forced to move from Jordan to Lebanon, starting to carry out acts of terrorism against Israel. Fighting went on for years, including the Israeli invasion of Lebanon to kick the PLO out of Beirut. The PLO eventually agreed to divide the land between Palestine and Israel, but there were still more and more Jewish settlers moved into the Israel-occupied Palestinian territories. In 1987, a violent Palestinian uprising was ignited, starting from the Jabalia refugee camp after an Israeli Defense Forces truck collided with 2 Palestinian civilian vans, killing 4 of them. This was known as the First Intifada. This bloody conflict, resulting in hundreds of deaths, triggered a peace process with the signing of the Oslo Accords by Israel and the PLO, the Oslo I Accord signed in Washington, D.C., and the Oslo II Accord in Taba, Egypt. According to the Oslo Accords, the West Bank was divided into 3 areas. Area A was exclusively controlled by the Palestinians.
Now think about this. They came up with another agreement to take more of their shit. And like, look, y'all gonna get y'all spaces. Look at what it's saying. Area A, Palestinian control. Area B, Palestinian and Israel control. Area C, Israel control, and then annexed by Israel. Israel taking majority of the shit. They take a majority of the shit. Just this little bit of red is really the Palestinians control. You see how it's got orange on here? Where y'all see some orange at? Where y'all see some orange at? This is crazy.
Area B was controlled by both the Palestinians and Israel. Area C was
there we go. Now we got the orange.
We got
the orange now.
The Second Intifada.
Second Intifada. What we got?
Though further peace talks continued in 2000, the Israelis and Palestinians could not reach agreements on issues like the status of Jerusalem, rights of refugees, and the increased Jewish settlement in Palestinian lands.
Now picture y'all, all this blue is the Jews. The Jews got all this blue, but the conversation now is this little small area, these small areas right here inside of this red, this orange, this tan. They own all this other shit, but they trying to take this shit too. Y'all trying to take that shit too.
Ariel Sharon, a Jewish Israeli who would later become Israel's prime minister, visited the Temple Mount, home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The action was deemed offensive by many Palestinians, and the Second Intifada broke out. The violence ended with Israel's withdrawal from Gaza, but continued to settle in the West Bank. Israel conflict with Hamas. Hamas is a Sunni Islamist militant group aiming to destroy the state of Israel and create an Islamic state. After the armed conflict between Hamas and Fatah, who managed the PLO, Hamas split from the Palestinian Authority and gained power in the Gaza. Israel put Gaza under a suffocating blockade, leading to several bloody wars between the two groups in the Gaza Strip, including Operation Cast Lead, Operation Pillar of Defense, and Operation Protective Edge. In 2014, Hamas and Fatah reached agreement to form a national unity government. In 2018, the U.S. Embassy was relocated from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which was deemed by the Palestinians as a signal of American support for Jerusalem as Israel's capital. 2021, the conflict between Israel and Palestine was reassumed by a series of hostile events in East Jerusalem, leading to several acts of violence until a ceasefire deal brokered by Egypt, Qatar, and the United Nations came into effect on May 21st. Peaceful though it may seem now, the complex and long-lasting territorial dispute between two states is a ticking time bomb that can explode any time.
And that's what the hell is about to happen. And hopefully we get the fuck out of it. Hopefully we get the hell up out of it, y'all. I really don't think we want to be involved in this dumb shit. Like, I don't believe we should be supporting evil, but if people really break down the country that we live in, we done committed a lot of evil as a country, not us individually, but as a country, we done committed a lot of evil. They used to taking people land. They used to murking people off. Say what's up to the Native Americans. Like, I'm just saying, say what's up to the Mexicans that they moved up out of here. Like, say shit to a lot of the native folks that were here. My folks were here. Murked them motherfuckers like, goddamn. This conflict going on over there ain't it, man. It ain't it. We got Clam P in here said free Derlin Roberts. I don't know who that is. But the growing sentiment in America is not going to be good for a lot of the people who call them, like, because it's really Zionism that's the problem. Like, even I've covered videos where it was a Jewish, like a practicing Jewish priest that live in New York. He don't support none of the shit that's going on over there. None of that shit. He live in New York. It was like, look, we're not even supposed to be trying to form a state. Like, all of that shit's evil. That's wrong. That's Zionism. That is not my religion that I practice and that I pray, that I practice and not my faith goes to. I pray every day on this shit. That's not my religion. That's some Zionist shit. That ain't of my people. But lo and behold, you see what the fuck going on over there, man. Us as Americans got to end up opening our motherfucking mouths and say something about it. Because in the sad part, it's growing, man. It's growing. There's a lot of people in America that ain't really feeling that type of shit. Now, the powers that be are telling us that we need to care about that shit and this is wrong. No. You don't take nobody and then, because here you go. How do you say well, Israel has a right to defend itself because Hamas attacked them. But then when Israel attacked Iran, the sentiment was, Iran, stop fucking fighting. Just come to the deal and come to the table and make a peace treaty. Where was that energy when Hamas attacked them? Because they had been fucking with them for decades. They've been fucking with them. They've been fighting and taking their land. Look at that, man. We watched it, man. Who the fuck wouldn't feel some type of way if you constantly living in a place like, we both live in this house, but every day you trying to take another fucking room. And you think I'm just going to sit there and just take that shit and I'm not going to fight back? But when I fight back, what y'all do? Y'all label us as terrorists. Thanks, America. The sentiment's going to be growing in America that a lot of American citizens ain't for this bullshit, bro. They ain't for this bullshit. They ain't going to keep standing for the dumb shit. Like, we talk about America first. Let's make it America first. None of our money should be going outside of this country for none of that nonsense. We claim we got all these problems. We need new roads. We need new bridges. We need better schools. We need to pay the teachers better. The police need more funding. We need people to have jobs. We got all these different issues we need to work on, but we still sending money out of the country. Americans going to start getting fed up with that bullshit, bro. That's why the title's the title. Why does the United States stay? Why they refuse to stay out the West? And it's like, we really got to, out the middle. We got to really figure out what the fuck that is. And start calling that shit the fuck out, bro. Like, them folks them Western Europeans want to go over there into somebody else's country and take their shit and they want to fight about it. Let them motherfuckers fight about it, bro. That ain't our fucking problem, bro. It's not our problem. We got too many issues as Americans. Now, I ain't even gonna speak on just as a black person, because I definitely shouldn't be giving a fuck about the situation. But as Americans, we should not be involved in none of that conflict, man. That ain't our issue. We need to stop funding evil. But I don't know when that's ever gonna fucking happen, man. I don't know when America's ever gonna fucking do that shit. It seems like we got a monopoly on that shit around the world. But look, man, I wanted to cover this shit real quick. Like, I was gonna do the Tucker Carlson fucking Ted Cruz conversation, but I was like, I ain't even gonna do Ted like that, man. I ain't gonna do Ted like that. Ted is the elected senator of Texas. And that motherfucker said his number one priority is Israel. Say, bitch, ain't your number one priority supposed to be the people in your state, dumbass? You talking about a whole another country across the water, nigga? Like, what? And that should wake people up. Get some of these old motherfuckers about the way, because we ain't got time for that, man. America got a lot of shit we need to work on. I said all things that off the top of my head, but there's even more. There's even more. We gotta open our mouth, man. Let them folks fight their own fucking fight over there, man. That ain't our fucking problem, y'all. It ain't our problem. And we need to start questioning the powers that be in our own country. Why are we doing that? And they need to stop. Like we need to just tell them, man, that's enough, bro. We good on that type of shit, man. Good on that shit. No offense to anybody. Just ain't got time for that. Y'all, that's y'all problem. Y'all fight that shit the fuck out. I'm about to go home, give me something to eat. But look, man, I appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. At least I hope somebody learned something. And we'll be back here tomorrow. I'm gonna have something a little bit more interesting. I know this is kind of like a Debbie Downer one, but hey, it's something that I like. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn the notice on, share the videos, become a channel member if you're feeling froggy, man, and keep supporting, man, because we're trying to grow. We're trying to hit that 100K. I'm trying to put that plaque on that wall right there, y'all. I'm trying to put a plaque on that wall, so y'all gotta help the boy out. But we're gonna get the hell up out of here, man. Y'all be safe and catch you in the next one as always, man.
Don't tell me about me. Stop telling 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 me about me. I don't need you to tell me about me.